Well, good evening, everyone. YouTube and Facebook for the first time in 2024. Welcome to St Andrews. Blues women back at B9 for the first time since November after racking up the miles on 4 away consecutive trips over the festive period. A return to Small Heath this evening marks the return of the Conti Cup, a competition where we've had a torrid time in the past few seasons. That theme has unfortunately continued for Darren Carter's side. 2 defeats to Charlton and Brighton see them rock bottom of their group and face elimination at this stage for the 3rd straight season. Blues have never won this competition. 2016 we came 1 game away but were bested by City 8 years ago. But Blues will have their tails up tonight against the Super League side. We've lost just 2 in 12 in all competitions against West Ham United women. Well, no, we've lost just 2 in 12 in all competitions, but against tonight's opponents, their form sheet couldn't look any different, to be honest. They have just 1 win in their last 11, which did come in this competition against Charlton, but with just 5 points to their name in the Super League, it's only goal difference keeping them off the bottom in the top tier. They occupy 3rd in Blues Conti Cup group and are hoping to go 1 better than last season in the competition when they were knocked out by Chelsea in the semi-final. Their chances of qualification are slim, but the bottom line is the Hammers need to nail on a win tonight to have any hope of getting out of the group and past the 2nd place ranking system, with Charlton playing Brighton in the other final game. Darren Carter makes 4 changes from our extra time FA Cup win at Burnley a couple of weeks ago. In come Walker, Fuso, Ag and Quinn. So Thomas starts in goal. Mason, Heron, Quinn and Finn make up the back 4. Harrison, Murray, Ag and Cho in the midfield, with Devlin and Fuso in support of Claudia Walker. As for West Ham, it's Mackenzie Arnold in goal. They go with their usual back 3 trio of centre-backs. Shannon Cook, Noah Sissoko and Kirsty Smith. Shimizu and Denton will reply width from wing-back. Amelie Stringer will hold in front of them, allowing Emma Snurler and Honoka Hayashi to support Riko Ueki and Vivian Asei up top for West Ham United. The parameters of the Conti Cup are infamously complex, but the facts are these. You might want to get a pinboard out with some red string and some post-it notes and a notepad and pen. So for West Ham to be in with a chance to qualify, they need to win here tonight by a 2-goal margin and hope that Brighton, who top the group, beat Charlton. If Charlton do beat Brighton tonight, West Ham need to win by a 6-goal margin here, and they could finish top depending on how many goals are scored in that Charlton-Brighton game. Bottom line is a draw isn't enough for the Hammers. The top 2 ranked 2nd placed sides out of the 5 groups go through, and that's calculated on a points per game basis. And already more teams have points per game than West Ham can accumulate here this evening if they win. And due to that ranking system in place for 2nd place teams, Blues are categorically out even if they finish 2nd with a heavy win here. Sunderland, Manchester City and London City Lionesses already have more points per game than Blues before kick-off in the other 4 groups. So I hope that makes sense with the parameters at play here. Blues ultimately playing for pride with a slim outside chance, but ultimately looking to continue their good run of form before picking the Women's Championship back up here against London City Lionesses on Sunday. My advice, therefore, would be to sit back, relax, enjoy the game and worry about all the mathematics later. Blues looking to nail the Hammers, something they've only done once in the past 9 meetings between the 2 teams. You're watching Blues TV live on Facebook and YouTube, and it's Blues women against West Ham United women in the final game of the Conti Cup group stage, as all 22 players take the knee before kick-off in the continued fight against discrimination of all kinds. Not just across football, but across all of society. It's West Ham who get us underway. Blues kicking from right to left in this first half. Blues in their classic royal blue jerseys with the blue shorts and blue socks, and immediately on the attack here. Shot comes in, not too far away from Charlie Devlin, 3 goals to her name already this season and has posed a threat to many women's championship sides already throughout the campaign. Just dancing in, picking up that pocket of space, making space for the shot on the left foot. It wasn't too far away, so the first half chance of the game falls Blues' way. Charlie Devlin looking for her 4th goal of the season. Only recently came back from a shoulder injury against MK Dons in the Adobe FA Cup that kept her out for some time. Almost found her 4th goal of the season. There has won this competition with Arsenal back in 2015. Of course, the record League Cup winners with 6 titles to their name, the Gunners. As in the early exchanges, West Ham really haven't been able to get out of their own half, convincingly at least, as they continue to be pegged back by Blues. Mason throws towards Walker, who grabbed a goal in that 3-1 victory in the Adobe FA Cup for Blues to progress and now face Leicester City. And she's awarded with a start here in the final group game of the Conti Cup as Fuso looks to get past the defender down there. And it's just brought down. First touch for Ueki, a Japanese international who has 3 goals to her name this season. Leading the line alongside Vivian Asai this evening. Mason. Mason can't find Fuso. And West Ham United will have a throw-in. And Denton, who's never scored a senior goal for West Ham, lining up at right wing back this evening for the Hammers. Asai winning the throw-in and getting on with it quickly. West Ham quick in the transition. First touch for Abilee Stringer. And this is Shimizu. Smith searching for Ueke. And Lucy Thomas can clear. The first time she started in the competition this season for Blues. Charlotte Clark taking up the mantle between the sticks in the previous 2 group stage games. And it's Claudia Walker who's the target of Charlie Devlin's efforts down the right-hand side, but the ball harmlessly runs through to Mackenzie Arnold, the Australian in sticks for West Ham United. Here's Denton. Denton unable to find the Dane Snurler down the right-hand side. Fuso wrestling with Stringer, wins a decision, immediately looks towards Claudia Walker. Walker, who has started all 3 Conti Cup games now up top, referred to Libby Smith just to give the number 9 a bit of a rest if nothing else. Blues just debating as to where that throw-in was taken from down this near side the right. West Ham have gained some yards down the flank. Sei goes down, belated blow up by referee Amy Fern, who had to trust her linesman there to make the decision, who was closer to the action. Certainly Vivian Asai, the French international, we knew she would. She's caused problems so far for Blues this evening. And whatever West Ham have been able to put together go forward has come through that French international. Vivian Asai, 4 goals to her name this season, 3 in the league, 1 in the FA Cup. So first bit of defending for Blues to do. Emma Schnurler, the Danish international, swings it in with her right foot. It's an inviting ball into the penalty area. The header comes in, but easily held by Lucy Thomas under her own crossbar. So chances at either end for both sides. One over the bar and one easily saved by Lucy Thomas. We've had 5.5 minutes here at St Andrews, somewhere where Blues have been famously strong in recent seasons. Only lost 7, well, they won 7 of 11 games in the Women's Championship here last season. Of course, being pipped to the post for promotion by Bristol City, who are just slugging it out with West Ham at the bottom of the Women's Super League so far this season. Good take by Walker. She's pursued by Shimizu. Header away only as far as Ag. Expertly finds Fuso, who can drift in field. Fuso leaves Denton in her wake. Finn has joined the attack from fullback. There's a throw-in for Blues in front of that populated Kop. Delivery is dug out and comebacks to Ag, who forces the save from Mackenzie Arnold. But not convincing defending from West Ham United. Simple throw-in by Blues was smartly worked into the penalty area. West Ham half cleared their lines and they've surrendered possession again. Devlin looking to bend one, this time safely again into the arms of Mackenzie Arnold, but West Ham United just inviting all of the pressure on themselves, the Hammers, in these opening exchanges. Blues unable, as of yet, to take advantage. Ag again picks it up in a positive pocket of space, feeds Devlin down the right-hand side. Charlie Devlin looking to stand up in the penalty area. Ag. Finn charges towards the byline, looks to dig out a cross with her right foot. That's deflected behind. And the ricochet, unfortunately, for Jamie Finn. Came off the Blues right back last and behind for a goal kick, but certainly Blues have had the best of it in the opening 8 minutes or so. West Ham United working Lucy Thomas. Comfortable save in the end for the Blues shot stopper. Real only opportunity they've carved was from that set piece. Meanwhile, Mackenzie Arnold has certainly been the busier of the two goalkeepers. And as I say, picking the ball up deep near her own penalty area. It's a slip clearance by Mackenzie Arnold. Picked up by West Ham United. Stringer works it in the near side for Denton. Heavy touch takes her out of play. And West Ham just haven't been able to get out of first gear yet, the Hammers. 1 win and 1 defeat in this competition. A heavy win and hoping that Brighton beat Charlton is their only hope of qualification, and even then they need to rely on that second place ranking table to go in their favour to progress in the Conti Cup. Looking to better their result from last season, a semi-final defeat to Chelsea, and a convincing one of that, 7-0. They were beaten by the Blues. Ag picks up after some promising play going forward from West Ham. Here's Cho Sun-hyun making tracks down the left-hand side, offloads to Fuso and Mason, just searching for So-hun again, who hadn't made that scamper forward for Ellie Mason to pick out, and the ball eventually fades out of play, but did make her full Blues debut. Cho Sun-hyun against Charlton in the second Conti Cup game after joining from Spurs in September, as Blues again have won the ball high upfield. Quinn. Thomas searching to this near side for Fuso, seen away by Denton. And Snurler has it robbed off her. And now Fuso, good touch out of her feet, but back comes Sissoko. And she could smartly separate the ball behind against the Brazilian, but it was a beautiful first touch from Ivana Fuso, searching for her 4th goal of the season. just got it out of her feet to turn on the afterburners, but Sissoko managed to keep pace with the Brazilian, signing from Manchester United in the summer. As West Ham United have worked this well into a pocket of space down the left-hand side, Kirsty Smith unable to prevent the goal kick. But certainly everything West Ham are doing going forward, coming through Assayi, the French international. Lucy Thomas hands responsibility to Niamh Herron, who did sign a new deal with the club recently, keeping her here until 2026. She's been nothing short of sensational since joining from Sunderland in the summer at the back, Niamh Herron. And she's offloaded to Mason, who can make a blistering run forward. Can't apply the finishing touch towards Walker, who taken on a really positive position on the edge of the penalty area. And now West Ham looking to exploit that vacant left-back position. But Herron, good awareness leading to the interception. And Herron with a blistering run of her own down the left-hand side. There's Fuso. Ueki rides one challenge, then is just caught late by Cho Sun-hun. And West Ham United will have a free kick just inside their own half. 0-0 here on Blues TV. Welcome to those tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. The final game of the Conti Cup group stage. Brighton and Charlton also going at it as the other final game in the group. For information, both of the games in this group are 0-0. Brighton being held by Charlton momentarily, so as it stands, Brighton go through as group winners. Charlton have their fate decided by the second place ranking system. Stringer. There's Cook. Vastly finding Smith. Ag bravely in with the header. Loose touch by Herron and slammed clear by Ellie Mason. Here's Cook again, who was an FA Cup runner-up with Arsenal. Did make the switch to across London to West Ham in 2022. That wasn't before spending 4 years across the pond in the USA. And Blues have lost the ball deep here, and Say looking to take advantage. Heroics off the line. Well, they weren't needed in the end by Louise Quinn as the flag goes up against Vivian Assayi. But who was she to know that? Brilliant defending, heroic stuff on the line by Louise Quinn. Blues were playing with fire edge their own penalty area. The ball fell to the French international Assayi, who had two stabs at it, both blocked by heroic defending from both Herron and Louise Quinn on the line. The offside flag brings an end to the whole opportunity, but the Blues back line weren't to know that. Heroics necessary in the moment. It remains 0-0. And I believe Stringer is the player down and receiving treatment. Vastly experienced. 11 years in the WSL. Former Blues, of course. Part of the team that came runners-up in that 2016 League Cup final, losing to Manchester City agonisingly. And a chance for both managers, Darren Carter and Rhiannon Skinner, to get some advice on board. So what has been a very tense opening 15 minutes or so. West Ham, of course, have to go tooth and nail the Hammers tonight to stand any chance of qualification into the next rounds of the Conti Cup. Blues playing for all but pride at this stage. But something that West Ham can do without is their veteran anchor, Abby Lee Stringer, missing out on any sort of league action due to being injured in Conti Cup action. It is a subtle limp as she makes her way off the field. And she's appearing so that she can continue. Well, West Ham, in their search for progression in this competition, will take confidence from their record here. They've beaten Blues in their last 3 visits here in the past 3 years. You have to go back to 2019 for the last time Blues beat West Ham, beating them by 2-1 away from home. And you have to go back a year further to 2018 for the last time Blues beat West Ham here. Blues looking to change the record books today and continue their rich vein of form. Losing just 2 of their last 12 games. And in the league, they've got 6 wins on the bounce, Blues. Their best streak since 5 on the bounce, which came in the WSL in 2011, 13 years ago. Fuso going to twist and turn and dance past Denton, who's having none of it. But Fuso wrestles the ball back off of the fullback, and Denton trying to get goal side of Fuso, who's dancing her way into the penalty area. Finds Ag, who controls well edge the 18-yard box. But West Ham United are making a mess of clearing this. Picked up by Walker, who seizes on the mistake at the back. Ellie Mason turns on the afterburners, digs out across into the penalty. It's a decent one, and it's 1-0 Blues. Lily Ag rising highest at the back post to head Blues 1 up in the cup. Well, West Ham, architects of their own downfall, they made a mess of clearing that at the back. Claudia Walker teed up Ellie Mason to turn on the afterburners down the left-hand side. Brilliant cross by the left back. And Lily Ag rose highest at the back stick to head home her 3rd of the season and give Blues the lead on the night. Blues 1, West Ham United 0. Blues lead the Women's Super League side. It's a beautifully taken header by Lily Ag. Rose highest in a sea of claret and white to head past Mackenzie Arnold. And Blues seize the initiative and are looking to double down on their advantage. Ag dispossessed though. Mitsu carrying forward, looking for the 1-2 with Ueke, and suddenly the game threatening to burst into life after a somber opening 18 minutes or so. Lily Ag breaking the deadlock, latching onto the end of an Ellie Mason cross. Well, West Ham United may have had the ball in the net through Asei, but it's Blues who have the lead through their number 12, Lily Ag. Well, West Ham have been playing with fire at the back at times in the opening 20 minutes, and finally Blues provide the full punishment. There's Finn. Devlin able to get her head down and charge towards the byline on that far side in front of the Tilton end here at St Andrews, and she's eluded 3 West Ham players, and Blues win the throw-in. Not letting their foot off the throttle after Lily Ag opened the scoring. So for the time being, Blues leading by a goal to 0, but still sitting bottom of their Conti Cup group on goal difference. West Ham having a superior goal difference to Blues. Another decent cross, this time Fuso was the intended recipient, and anywhere will do at the moment for West Ham, who just look a little shell-shocked from how they've started the game. They've been pegged back inside their own half for the majority of these opening exchanges, and that reflects in the scoreline. Mason This time, no way past Shannon Cook, who pleads her innocence, but the throw-in ultimately goes against the West Ham centre-back. Cho Sun-hyun linking up well with Fuso and Mason. Mason now dancing her way into the penalty area. Offloads to Cho Sun-hyun. Shots back onto the right foot, looks a tray pass with Fuso. It's really intricately done by Blues. Is there a final product? Trying to escape this tight cul-de-sac down the left-hand side, and eventually it's Fuso who's flagged offside, just as Blues were threatening to create an intricate little triangle there. And Ari-Lee Stringer, who's still feeling the effects of that knock she took a few minutes ago, once again hits the deck, and West Ham United might be forced into an early enforced change. And as I alluded to, Blues, despite not having the best of luck in the Conti Cup, are going brilliantly in the league. They were top at Christmas and now have a game in hand over the front runners again, Sunderland and Charlton. Their 23-goal tally is bettered only by Palace and Southampton in their division, and their 10 conceded at the other end. The defence is bettered only by Sunderland. So after just missing out on an instant return to the Women's Super League last time out, Blues looking to do the job at the second time of asking, and arguably could have run away with it if they made a better start to proceedings, given their points tally since a 0-0 draw with Sunderland a few months ago really turned their fortunes in the Championship. So play continues. Stringer once again with a ginger limp in front of me. Back to the technical area. I'm just going to see whether Rianne Skinner is going to stick or twist with her centre defensive midfielder. So West Ham United, though, crucially at the moment, are a player down. Back comes Stringer, instantly applying pressure to Mason, who can waltz her way in field. Christy Harrison-Murray, who's just been pulling the strings and got under the radar slightly in these opening 22 minutes, but has been playing a vital role for Blues as the dynamo in that midfield, the Scottish international. And now Finn can make some tracks down the right-hand side. Digs out a low cross. Walker will get there ahead of Sissoko, and she'll pull it back, and in comes a strike! Splendid save by Mackenzie Arnold. It's really intricately worked by Blues down the right-hand side. Good combination play between Finn and Walker, who showed good perseverance to not only latch onto the cross, but find an option in Charlie Devlin, who first time looked to bend it into that far corner. Splendid save from the Australian. Mackenzie Arnold in the West Ham net. Sees the ball behind for Blues corner. Well, Blues have been so threatening from set pieces this season. 7 of their 28 goals have come from set pieces. They haven't scored from one in 4 games, however. Harrison-Murray looking to change that, invitingly into the penalty area. Bit of pinball around there as West Ham again make a mess of clearing it. They eventually do hook the ball upfield, but it's nicely tidied up by Blues. Cho Sun-hyun back to Thomas. And Brighton and Hove Albion have taken the lead against Charlton. So 1-0 to Brighton, who extend their lead at the top of the Conti Cup group to 6 points beyond Charlton. And with West Ham now losing here, Charlton will still take that second place spot if the result remains the same here at St Andrews. Hayashi teasing ball into the penalty area. Ueke unable to really trouble Lucy Thomas, who has largely been a spectator like the rest of us so far, albeit for a hairy moment when Blues gave the ball away deep inside their own half. Ultimately, Asseyi was flagged offside. She had one save to make, pretty comfortable under her own crossbar as Walker battles with Kirsty Smith. The decision will go the Hammers' way. And now West Ham are going to make that change. So Abby Lee Stringer hasn't been able to shake off that slight knock she took early in this first half, so she's replaced by the Belgian international Amber Tiziak, who did score against Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday, as West Ham not once but twice came back against their London rivals, but ultimately lost the game by 4-3. So good fight and good vigour, but another loss for the Hammers. Shimizu just trying to influence things from midfield, and I don't know if you might see a slight change in tactics with that change off the bench for West Ham. There's Smith, rides one challenge, can't ride the other from Finn. Devlin. Cho Sun-hun. Nicely done to Heron. Mason. Mason's pass too close to Denton. Cook. It's really smartly done by Snurl around the corner, but she's been caught on it by Mason and dispossessed. And here's Ag, the player whose goal separates the two sides so far this evening. Christy Harrison-Murray goes down under pressure and wins the free kick for Blues as they continue their vice-like grip so far on proceedings against the Women's Super League side. West Ham, you feel, just haven't really got out of the first gear so far in the 27 minutes we've had here at St Andrews, and now have a bit more defending to do as Blues throw yet more questions at the Hammers' back line. Christy Harrison-Murray, right-footed, decent delivery, it's headed on. Not cleared though by West Ham, eventually put behind by Tiziak. And that strike came in. Manny Mason. So Blues are their second corner kick of the game, this time from the right-hand side. Right-footed, decent delivery. Blues player has gone down in the penalty area. Play will continue, but the referee, Amy Fern, just halting any potential West Ham United counter-attack to C2 Louise Quinn. Who, concerningly for Blues, has gone down grasping, it looks like, her right shoulder, following a slight altercation in the penalty area. Certainly not one to go down the vastly experienced Irish international. Did play all of the Republic of Ireland's games at the World Cup before their unceremonious exit from the competition. And of course, a WSL winner with Arsenal. Did score 6 goals from centre-back last season for Blues. Has been in and out the team so far in the Women's Championship. Has fared better in the cup competitions, but Darren Carter just liking that defensive duo of Niamh Heron accompanying Gemma Lawley at the back. And it looks like Lawley's services might be required from the bench, as Louise Quinn is in quite a bit of discomfort. It was quite a nonchalant one, just a tangle off the ball as the delivery came into the penalty area. So Blues momentarily down to 10 players, with Cho Sun Hunt filling in at centre-back. And the Blues coaching staff have indeed handed a piece of paper to the fourth official, and Louise Quinn is making her way down the tunnel to the medical room, so a change imminent for Blues. But they're a player down. West Ham looking to take advantage of that as they come forward with Ueki. Ueki charging to the edge of the 18-yard box. Only half clear by Blues. It will come back at them through Hayashi. Again, heroic defending by Niamh Heron as the strike came in from Kirsty Smith from the angle. Just getting there in front of her goalkeeper, getting anything she could on it and seeing away the danger. I'll bring you news of Louise Quinn's injury when I hear it. Haven't seen a replay of the collision. Denton finds Snurler inside. Blues still down to 10 players while the substitution is readied. As Shimizu looks to squeeze it through to Denton and made the run down the outside. Unless it's going to be Martha Harris who's going to be Louise Quinn's enforced replacement. Harris, who did score her first goal before Christmas, and what a goal it was. Absolute thunderbolt against Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. Only her third goal in her entire career, but has really impressed at fullback, especially for Blues. So she is going to be introduced imminently. Mason took a chance, but the situation is recovered and rescued by Niamh Heron. And Thomas, Devlin's first touch just gets away from her, but as does Smith's, and as does Cho Sun Hyun. Blues just look a bit rocked by that injury. And of course, are a player down, so have a slight handicap, but they've seen through that 2 minutes or so with that handicap, and now a full helping will be restored. Martha Harris coming on for Louise Quinn. And Ellie Mason's going to shift across to centre-back. And Martha Harris will fill in at left-back. Cook hoists into the penalty area. Awkward one to deal with. Zasay with the header down, but the offside flag denies West Ham taking any advantage from Asai's good work. Walker. So Sun Hyun under pressure from Asai. And West Ham, after a slow start, they really invited Blues pressure onto them, the Super League side. They're just threatening to start to find their rhythm and click into gear. Blues, though, trying to prevent just that. Asai's deft touch through, picked up by Heron under pressure from Smith. She can step out of centre-back and find Finn. And Finn calmly rolls it back to Lucy Thomas. Cook eludes two Blues players before giving the ball straight back to Darren Carter's side. There's Devlin. Holds off a challenge and can invite Harrison to play for her first maraud forward of the evening. Ball's adjudged to have stayed in play, and Fuso looking to take advantage as he drifts in field. But it's the offside flag that denies Blues any progress this time. A belated offside flag, and I think Darren Carter's just asking the same question as me. He's not too sure how Fuso could have been adjudged offside as he asks the fourth official and has a conversation with John Ashworth-Sears. Thomas. Mason. Blues escape the press. Mason clips over the top, dealt with by Denton. Ag capitalises on the heavy touch by Shimizu. Harris hoists down the left-hand side, looking to squeeze the ball down the touchline towards Fuso. Cook back to a goalkeeper, Arnold. Blues looking to force the issue as Arnold finds Denton. Heavy touch presents possession to the Brazilian. Christy Harrison-Murray just took a chance without looking there, and Mason just eases Rika Ueke off of her challenge. Unfairly, deems the referee. And West Ham have a free kick just over the halfway line. Blues leading by a 1-0. Okay, so update from Brighton Charlton. Brighton are now winning by 2-0, so the stipulations change slightly. West Ham's fortunes in the competition still not decided, but West Ham, despite them losing here, because Charlton are now down by 2 goals, and their goal difference obviously reduces by those 2 goals. West Ham United move up into second place, and their fate will be decided, if it stays this way, by the second place ranking system. As it stands, though, there are too many teams above them in that second place ranking system for the Hammers to qualify. It's on an average points basis throughout the Conti Cup competition in the group stage, of which today we're playing the 3rd game, so it's the average amount of points that teams have gained through those 3 games. And currently it's Spurs who sit top of that, with City in second. So those two are going through so far in that second place ranking system. Of course, there are a few games to take place later and tomorrow. So not everything will be decided tonight, as Finn making a swashbuckling run down the right-hand side. Offloads to Devlin. He's looking to dance on that left foot. Wicked delivery. Seen to safety by West Ham United, only as far as Christy Harrison-Murray. Charlie Devlin having to work overtime to retain possession for Blues. Vivian Asay almost intervening on a pass back to Heron. So far going through automatically are Aston Villa, Manchester United, who are currently being held in their Manchester derby with Man City, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, the 6-time winners, and Brighton from our group. So that's who are going through so far, and then we have to wait to see how the second place ranking system finishes up when everyone's played their games. Harris. Harris finds Walker. a three-strong claret and white wall between her and making any sort of progress, so she settles for the throw-in. Claudia Walker, who's looking for 2 goals in 2 games after a strike against Burnley in the Adobe FA Cup. Blues running away by 3 goals to 1. They did need extra time to do it, an extra 30 minutes, but eventually did get the job done against Burnley to progress, and will face Leicester in the next round. That's taking place on Saturday, the 10th of February. Harris just turning into a war of attrition, this in the corner, as Blues managed to retain possession further. Claudia Walker offers herself short. Instead, Harris will look to go to Fuso, but instead does go to Walker. And Mason rolls it in field to Heron. Heavy touch, invites the pressure from Asseyi, and Asseyi is bearing down on goal. Ellie Mason to beat. Back comes Blues bodies in the shape of Jamie Finn. Lucy Thomas can't prevent the corner kick, but that's the best opening that West Ham United have had. Vivian Asseyi charging down and just didn't have the afterburners to get past the Blues defence and leave them in her wake. And back came Jamie Finn with a decisive challenge. Lucy Thomas couldn't prevent the corner kick. West Ham thought it was a throw-in, thought Lucy Thomas had done enough, but the officials have adjudged that West Ham United will have a corner. Big opening that for West Ham. Will it come back to bite the hammers? Smith challenged by Harrison Murray. Second corner in quick succession. And Christy Harrison Murray is dumbfounded as to how the decision hasn't gone her way for a goal kick, but can't complain for too long. Has to retake her position to defend this at the end of the first half. 3 minutes to go until half-time. Blues leading by a goal to nil through Lily Agg's 3rd of the season. But West Ham certainly finishing the half strong. Big corner, big claim by Lucy Thomas just to see away any potential danger. And she gets a big round of applause from her manager, Darren Carter. Thomas into Walker, who does win the flick on, but picked up by Hawa Sissoko. Sissoko, who has started both the Conti Cup games for West Ham, and actually scored her only goal of the season in the 3-1 defeat to Brighton in their opening Conti Cup game, as Devlin sprays it to this near side for Fuso. Could open up here for the Brazilian, has plenty to do. Harris, her avenue blocked by the oncoming Denton, and behind for Blues' 3rd corner of the game. In comes that corner kick. It's gone all the way through. Heron will retrieve down the right-hand side for Blues. Goes down under pressure. Does win the corner kick. So right at the end of the first half, and Blues double their advantage. It's rolled back to Devlin, who will fire into the penalty area. Comes out only as far as Cho Sun Hunt. Cho Sun Hunt again. Fuso is onside and digs out across. West Ham United not convincingly dealing with these balls into their penalty area. Devlin gliding in field, offloads to Christy Harrison. Murray has 2 stabs at it and finds Finn. Finn towards that back stick. Safety first from Kirsty Smith, who heads behind for Blues. 5th corner of the game. We'll have 6 minutes of additional time. Presumably that will be for the treatment that needed to be applied to Abby Lee Stringer. Harrison Murray looking to make one of these corners count. Another dangerous delivery. This time it's Sissoko who heads away and helped on its way by Snurler. Maybe Finn under pressure from Asai. Just about got enough on it back to Thomas. Devlin is onside. Neat footwork by Fuso. Devlin, her cross into the penalty area. It's towards that near post, easily gathered by Mackenzie Arnold, but certainly Blues have had the best of it going forward in this first half. Squeezed down the right-hand side. And Marshall behind by Martha Harris. So Blues leading by a goal to nil, thanks to Lily Agg's third of the season. A really smart head at the back post, rose well and buried the effort past Mackenzie Arnold. And it's Blues who lead the Women's Super League side as we approach the end of the first half. West Ham, despite losing, have moved up to second because of the result elsewhere, or I should say the score elsewhere. Lily Agg felt that she was pushed. Play will continue. Denton in a foot race with Fuso, who's adjudged to be offside. Agg unable to gather in the midfield. It will fall for Hayashi. And now Sissoko. Sissoko gives the ball straight to Finn, who was looking to release Walker. Just overcooked her ball through for the Blues striker. Arnold square to Shannon Cook. Cook in field to Hayashi. She gives it away to Lily Agg. Harris. Christy Harrison-Murray completes the switch. Crossfield to Finn. Heavy touch presents possession to Smith, who can relinquish Blues of the ball. Christy Harrison-Murray battling with Asai, who retains possession for the Hammers. Possession changing hands a bit more frequently now as we approach the final 3 minutes of the 6 minutes added on at the end of this first half. Shimizu turns away from Walker. Square it goes to Hayashi. She's quickly closed down by Devlin. Sissoko. Smith. Smith driving in field, trying to carve out an opportunity. Opportunities that have been seldom, few and far between for West Ham United in this first half. Asai saw an effort heroically blocked off the line by Louise Quinn, only for the offside flag to be raised against the French international. And she's on the ball now, looking to carve out an opportunity. Smith. Asai, loose ball, easily cut out by Cho Sun-hun. Hayashi. It's West Ham searching for an equaliser at the end of this first half. Snapshot by Ueki is well blocked. It will come back for West Ham. This time away by Martha Harris. Blues just feeling that the referee is letting one or too many decisions go. Shimizu under pressure from Agg, who just screens that potential avenue for West Ham United. Denton, right for the delivery, brought down on the edge of the penalty area by Snurler, but she was unable to take advantage. Neve Herring comes away with it. Christy Harrison-Murray will pick up, just sold her teammate Fuso a little short, and West Ham will come again, finishing the half strong. Ueki goes down, Ueki gets the free kick. So with a minute to go, West Ham United with an opportunity to claw themselves level in a first half where they've been largely second best all over the pitch. This will indeed be against the run of play. Big opportunity this for the Hammers. So after a bit of a delay, it will be Snurler's delivery. It's an inviting one. It's a West Ham head that got there. Thomas had to be strong against Asay, who was flagged offside nonetheless. But West Ham, their chances have been few and far between, but certainly from set pieces, they've asked one or two questions of this Blues back line. Offside flag coming to the rescue for Blues once again. And Amy Fern's whistle brings to an end quite a tense first half. Blues starting strong and retaining that strength throughout that first period. Put their foot well and truly on the throttle when Lily Agg headed home her third goal of the season after good work by Ellie Mason, after West Ham United were just surrendering possession far too often in that first period, and finally Blues provided the full punishment. Lily Agg rising highest above a sea of white and claret to head home at the back stick. Louise Quinn's injury threatened to maybe offset the dynamic of Blues, but in came Martha Harris as Ellie Mason switched across to centre-back, and Blues able to deflect what was a strong finish that first half from West Ham United, who haven't really managed to get out of first gear as often as they would have hoped in their search for a heavy victory, for a slender chance of progressing in the Conti Cup. So at half-time here, it's Blues Women 1, West Ham United Women 0 in a final group game of the Conti Cup. Well, in-form Blues certainly came racing out of the blocks in that first period, carving a chance inside the first 20 seconds or so. Charlie Devlin, who was only recently returned to the side after suffering a shoulder injury, firing narrowly over. And that was certainly a sign of things to come in the opening 20 minutes or so. Mackenzie Arnold finding herself making all sorts of saves. West Ham, their first real opening was from that set piece. A decent header by Rika Ueki, easily claimed by Lucy Thomas, who throughout the rest of the 40 minutes of the first half would find herself largely a spectator like the rest of us. But this was West Ham's Achilles heel in that opening period. They relinquished possession far too easily and Blues just couldn't take advantage of the first few opportunities. This one we see from Devlin, just trying to bend into that far corner, couldn't get the whip that she desired. We've seen her do that a few times in the Blues shirt since she joined from Leicester, but then it was Blues' turn to follow suit. Luckily for them, the offside flag came to the rescue, just as Vivian Asseyi looked to put West Ham in the lead, albeit for a heroic block on the line from Louise Quinn, who wasn't to know that the French international would be flagged offside. Good save in the build-up as well by Lucy Thomas. But here we see the goal. It was good perseverance by Claudia Walker to recycle the opportunity. Ellie Mason just left Emma Snurler for dust down the left-hand side, dug out a decent cross, and Lily Agg just wanted it more at the back post, climbing above Kirsty Smith to bury her header into the bottom corner. Her third goal of the season, and from there, Blues really put their foot on the gas, threatening a second. Again, Claudia Walker showing great strength, great perseverance to get there ahead of Sissoko, and the first-time strike from Devlin forced the best so far out of Mackenzie Arnold in the save department, stretching to her right-hand side to put beyond her post. Like West Ham did early in the first half, Blues did play with fire slightly at the back. It was Kirsty Smith who couldn't make the most of the opportunity. Niamh Heron in the way, who again tonight has been sublime, much like she's been all season for Blues. It's very easy to see why Blues were desperate to get her to put pen to paper on a contract extension recently. And it was certainly West Ham United who threatened to click into gear towards the end of that first half. Even Asseyi again, who's posed a potential threat throughout that 45 minutes. 4 goals already to her name this season, but again denied by the offside flag on this near side. And then as we just entered first half stoppage time, Blues did threaten a second. Fuso, who has been lively in and around the penalty area, and Devlin just couldn't wrap her foot around the cross, and it was in the end easily gathered by Mackenzie Arnold at the front post. But that's how it remains as the players head into the half-time tunnel. West Ham United do remain in second place, so will leave their fate to the second place ranked playoffs and the ranking system in the Conti Cup. Blues still remain bottom of the Conti Cup table. Do have an outside chance if they go on to win this one heavily, if the score remains the same between Brighton and Charlton. But here at St Andrews, we look forward to the second half, and that's next. Welcome back for the second half. West Ham have made 2 changes. Jess Zhu on for Snurler and Princess Odomiliu on to bolster the attack as well, the 17-year-old for West Ham. So Blues leading by a goal to nil. Stipulations remain the same. Only a win will do for West Ham if they want to stand any chance of progressing into the next stages of the Conti Cup. As for Blues, playing for pride more than anything else, even if they do win heavy and finish in second position in their league. It's fair to say that there are teams already in superior positions to them in terms of how the second place rankings stand. Mainly by a goal to nil through Liliag's 3rd of the season on 18 minutes. Princess Adamiluyi looking to do the job up top. This 17-year-old came through the West Ham United youth system, 5 senior appearances in the WSL. So did start both Conti Cup games, on as a substitute at half-time in this one. Those 5 appearances in the WSL have only amounted to 21 minutes of football in the top tier. So a good experience for her as she looks to change the game in the second half of proceedings. And Jess Zhu on for the Dane Snurler as well. As Blues win a throw-in down the left-hand side. And they've worked it well to Fuso. She's brought down by Shannon Cook, and Blues have a free kick early in proceedings down the left-hand side. So Blues, no changes at half-time. Thomas in goal. Of course, that enforced change meant that there was a shift in the back line. So Finn at right back, Heron and Mason, and then Harris left back. Cho Sun-hyun, Christy Harrison-Murray, the captain, and Liliag, the goal scorer of the 3 in midfield, with Fuso and Devlin flanking Claudia Walker. Plenty of bodies in close proximity. Everyone back inside the West Ham penalty area to defend this. It's short. And Harris will work it back to Harrison-Murray. And there is Walker blocking the penalty area and thumb-backing! Splendid finish! Oh, what a goal by Martha Harris! She only scores screamers. And she's added another one to her tally. Only her 2nd goal for Blues. Only the 4th goal of her entire career. But it is a splendid finish by the substitute. And Blues doubled down at the start of the second half and put themselves well and truly in the ascendancy. It's a really intricately worked free kick and expertly executed by Martha Harris on the half volley. Mackenzie Arnold left planted as she saw the effort fly past her into the corner. And Martha Harris comes up with another gem in blue, and they lead by 2 goals to nil. It's a perfect start to the second half and a dream strike for Martha Harris. Oh, what a goal from the left back. Here's Smith. West Ham looking for a response after being pegged back again at the start of this second half. But Finn drives forward for Blues, who look in the mood here this evening. Hayashi. West Ham taking a risk on the edge of their own penalty area with Tiziak. But managed to escape that tight cul-de-sac. And is Asai, who certainly looked the bright spark for West Ham in that first half. Her pass is cut out by Fuso. And just that 2-goal buffer will just calm things down for Blues, so I'm sure would have come out quite nervous in the face of what will be, I'm sure, a resurgent Women's Super League West Ham side who are desperate to retain their status in the Conti Cup. Smith driving forward for West Ham and winning their first corner kick of the second half. Blues 2, West Ham United 0. Martha Harris with a glorious strike. Expertly taken by the fullback. Smith, right-footed, West Ham looking to get a foothold in the contest. Brave goalkeeping by Lucy Thomas, just as Asay was looking to benefit the back stick after West Ham had won the initial first ball. Lucy Thomas, though, guarding her 6-yard box. And welcome those watching on Twitter as well as YouTube and Facebook. Truly worldwide, with people tuning in from Spain, France, across the continent. As West Ham work this short, left-footed ball into the penalty area, takes deflection on its way through. Still not clear from Blues. A bit of pinball in the Blues penalty area, eventually smuggled out by the goal scorer, Martha Harris. Sissoko drives West Ham over the halfway line. They need a response now, the Hammers, if they want any chance of retaining their Conti Cup status. And suddenly it's a different ball game as far as the Conti Cup table is concerned. Blues with that goal, and with Charlton losing by 2-0, slingshot themselves off the bottom of the table into second place. As I said, before anyone gets too excited, we will then go into a second place ranking system where currently Blues don't quite have enough to trouble any of the teams already performing well in other groups and sit rock bottom of that second place ranking system. But certainly on initial reading, it looks far better than finishing at rock bottom of a group stage. As Cho Sun-hun just impishly invites Harris forward. She's flagged offside though, the Blues goal scorer. What a hit from Martha Harris, only the 4th goal of her entire career. Her first in blue was an absolute rocket. And Fuso it's her 3rd goal in blue, the 4th of her entire career. Her first of the season was a rocket against Sheffield United. She did score 1 last season, Martha Harris, but brilliant finish. Brilliant finish by the fullback for Blues' second here. As West Ham look long, that's easily seen to safety by Finn, and now Devlin can charge over the halfway line. Ag, Finn, Heron. Blues just tightening their grip on the fixture, slowly but surely. West Ham, though, desperate to find a foothold. But Blues again play their way out of a tight cul-de-sac. Christy Harrison-Murray finds Fuso. Fuso gliding in field, offloads to Ag. It's Finn who's made the burst up from full-back. A blistering run. Falls slightly wide by Lily Ag, but Blues retain the ball. Devlin, head down, charging to the bar, digs out across. It's a dangerous one. Fuso just taken off her toe. Christine Harrison-Murray, it'll fall for Harris, trying to rescue the effort. And West Ham can emerge with it through Tiziak. She's stifled in her tracks, though, and Blues again win back possession. Hello to those watching in Australia as well. Good to have you on board. Blues in the driving seat. Electric start to the second half, just fades out slightly as the pace of the game takes a dip. And Darren Carter decides that dip is time to throw on 2 reinforcements from the bench. The first is Lucy Quinn. She will replace Lily Agg, who got us up and running in that first half with a buried header at the back post. So Quinn, who has 6 goals and 6 assists to her name.
And please show your appreciation
last season,
number 20, Cho So-hyun, who's being replaced by Cho Yuri.
Has continued that assist tally, 6 already this season with the 1 goal she scored at Bramall Lane. And Cho Yuri replaces her fellow South Korean Cho So-hyun. Cho Yuri, who scored her first Blues goal in the Adobe FA Cup away to MK Dons. What was a last gasp winner before Ivana Fuso added to that tally to make it a 2-0 win in Buckinghamshire. Did make her first start for Blues versus Charlton in the League Cup, but that first goal coming in the FA Cup competition. Walker, Blues again relinquishing possession high up the field from West Ham. Foot race with Sissoko, just slightly outnumbered Walker and just runs out of room, just shy of the byline and behind for a goal kick. Hello to those watching from Jamaica as well. Blues truly international. We appreciate you tuning in and appreciate your support and hope you're enjoying what so far is a fruitful display from Darren Carter's Blues women's side. Princess Ademiluyi with a slick bit of skill. And West Ham can look to build on that down the right-hand side. Here is the 17-year-old once again. It's a decent cross, free header, splendid save from Lucy Thomas. Best chance of the game so far for West Ham, and it falls for Riko Ueki. Brilliant work by Ademiluyi down the right-hand side, splendid cross. And the Japanese international found herself in all sorts of space, plenty of time to measure her header and get plenty of power behind it. Lucy Thomas, brilliant reactions to stretch down to her left-hand side and keep that Blues clean sheet intact. First thing that Lucy Thomas has really had to do in the game, and produce the save splendidly. In comes that resultant corner. It's Thomas again involved, having to marshal her 6-yard box bravely in with the bodies as Cho Yuri looks to play the way out of trouble. What a save that was from Lucy Thomas, certainly preventing West Ham from finding a foothold in the contest so far. Could prove a vital save come the end of proceedings. Amazing what a goal can do for momentum in football. Those tuning in from Latvia as well, keep sending those messages in on the YouTube, the Facebook and the Twitter. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Right across the continent and the world. Ademiluyi just caught late by a retreating Harris. Sissoko strides forward over the halfway line, looks to play through Ueki, who has certainly had West Ham's best chance of the game. Splendidly denied by a diving Lucy Thomas. Kirsty Smith just looking to force the issue. They've penned Blues back inside their own half, just shy of the halfway line. Blues leading by 2-0 thanks to goals either side of half-time by Liliag first, and an absolute stunner from Martha Harris. Brilliant finish from the fullback. And Blues so far holding their own when West Ham inevitably are going to come onto them, the Women's Super League side. Blues so far have an answer for all the questions that the East London side are throwing at them. The offside flag raised against the Japanese international Riko Ueki. Harris bravely up against Zhu. And the ball just leaving the field of play. Miluyi around the corner, picked up by Harris, who can drive Blues down the left-hand side. And Blues in search of a third. Devlin trying her luck from distance on her right foot. Just got under it slightly. Sees it sail into the Gilmerick. Those interested in the fate of the rest of the competition, Crystal Palace looking to be cruising against London City Lionesses in Group C. But the Lionesses have come back to lead the Eagles. So they move up into first place in Group C. The Women's Championship side so far going through. Along with Manchester City, who lead that decisive Manchester derby by 1-0 to leapfrog Manchester United into first. And Aston Villa down the road in first place in Group A. Blues still in second position as things stand in their group, Group E. But with Brighton winning and already having a 3-point buffer on Blues, they will go, of course, as I mentioned, to the second place ranking system. But if Blues avoid defeat today, there'll be just 2 defeats in their last 13 in all competitions for them. Still only conceded 11 goals here at St Andrews, while scoring 14 themselves. And Miluyi looking to waltz her way past Harris on the edge of the penalty area, who stands firm against the 17-year-old to clear her lines. Heron bravely in on Ueki on the edge of the penalty area. West Ham bench thinking illegally, but nothing doing by the referee. Fuso just bringing down Shimizu in the centre of the park, and West Ham, understandably, want to get on with this quickly. Their Conti Cup status at stake. Ueki. Low ball into the penalty areas by Smith. Dealt with by Blues, picked up by Sissoko. Under pressure from Walker, finds Shimizu. And this is Tiziak. Hayashi. Certainly have the bit between their teeth now, West Ham. Have a mountain to climb here at St Andrews, somewhere where Blues have had a terrific record so far this season. Did mention 2 defeats in their last 12. They have both come in this competition for Blues, so otherwise they've got green all over their form guide, Darren Carter's side. Fuso heavily challenged by Shimizu, who's adjudged to have got all ball and no player as play continues. There's a Sei, falls slightly wide after being dropped in over the top. No attempted cross is blocked by Niamh Heron, who's just seemed to have covered every blade of grass once again for Blues this evening. Sissoko receives a heavy challenge by Cho Yuri as the South Korea's momentum just takes her into Sissoko, the French international, and Cho Yuri will be brandished with the first caution of the game. Shannon Cook. Lucy Thomas again bravely in on a crowd of bodies. And Lucy Thomas has come off, I was going to say come off the worst, but does brandish a wry smile as she remains down on the deck. So Lucy Thomas will receive some treatment. Rhian Skinner, the West Ham United manager, is taking this opportunity to make a change.
Substitution for West
As
Ham.
Something's got to go her way if they're to turn their fortunes in this game. Emma Harries coming on for Shannon Cook. That's the change that Rhian Skinner has opted for. Harries, who has got a goal in this competition, came against Charlton in West Ham's only win in the tournament so far. So they look like they're going to go to 4 at the back and throw the kitchen sink at Blues for the remaining 20 minutes. And in response, Darren Carter is going to throw on Abby Jenner and Katie
Please show your
Dungates.
appreciation for 21, Claudia Walker, who's being replaced by 27, Abby Jenner.
So Abby Jenner, certainly a defensive-minded
And number
player.
13, please show your appreciation for
recently handed a
Fuso,
contract by Blues women
11, Katie
to reward
Dungay.
her efforts in the first team. Abby Jenner, just 18 years of age, and Dungate will replace Fuso. Dungate, who did start both Conti Cup games so far against Brighton and Charlton, missed out on the starting 11 in this one, but has 20 minutes to impose herself. As say, Walker replaced by Abby Jenner. Dungate, who joined from Chelsea after going through the youth system across London from West Ham. 8 years she spent in the Blues youth system in London. Yet to score for Blues here in Smallheath. Just takes up the mantle down the left-hand side. And immediately fed by Charlie Devlin. One back high by Blues. Quinn in the hunt, goes down to the penalty area, nothing doing by the referee. There is Dungate. Jenner, who's just slotting in nicely at right back. As Finn has slotted across into centre midfield. And Jamie Finn's first task is to dispossess Princess Adamiluyi. And then upon trying to recover the situation, the 17-year-old brings down the Irish international. Lofted to the edge of the 18-yard box, dealt with by West Ham. Only half cleared. Again, they're just rather unceremoniously clearing their lines. West Ham at the moment. There's Ueki looking for that midfield splitting pass. And Asai with a smart reverse ball to release Adamiluyi. Adamiluyi invites Zhu into play, and it's stood up into the penalty area. Nicely done by Lucy Thomas, who receives a round of applause from her manager Darren Carter. She sees away the danger. 15 minutes to go, plus whatever stoppage time referee Amy Fern wants to add on. Blues still remaining second in their Conti Cup group. West Ham rock bottom. And between them, Yuri and Abby Jenner can just screen things away from this near side, the Blues right. Force West Ham all the way back to Arnold. Arnold's clearance clears Dungate. And West Ham surging down the right-hand side, teasing ball into a dangerous area, eludes everyone in the middle. And I say, he goes down in the penalty area under the challenge of Heron. It was Rhian Skinner, the West Ham United manager, leading the appeals with her striker. Nothing doing by the referee, who was largely unmoved. Lucy Quinn goes down, referee not moved by that either. And Jenner calmly back to her goalkeeper Thomas, who can complete the clearance upfield. 15 minutes to go. You feel a goal, the next goal, it's a cliche at a 2-0 scoreline in any football game, but the next goal is vital. A third for Blues will put the tie to bed. A goal back for West Ham will really give them confidence heading into the final stages. The claret and white just looking for an avenue to carve something. Ueki gliding in field, offloads to Asai, who will pull the trigger from distance. Comfortable enough for Lucy Thomas. Thomas looking for her 5th clean sheet of the season, all competitions. Yuri looks to turn away from Sissoko. Stands up the French international, no way past the towering centre-back for the South Korean. And between themselves, West Ham United can mop up at the back. Shimizu. Lateral pass finds the industrious Kirsty Smith. But that particular avenue is slammed shut for now. And West Ham, big chance. Big chance goes begging. Riko Ueki. 2 big chances for West Ham United now to pull themselves back into contention in the tie. Once denied by Lucy Thomas, and this most recent one blazed over the crossbar. Well, intricately constructed by West Ham, taking their time, patient on the periphery of the penalty area. The Japanese international just snatched at the effort and sent it high over the Tilton. Quinn surging forward into the penalty area she goes, dispossessed by Sissoko. Mason. Devlin rolls it in field to Finn, who had to work overtime to get there ahead of Shimizu. Smith looking to squeeze that ball down the left-hand side for Harries, who had made the burst into that left channel. But it rolls behind for a Blues goal kick. They lead by 2-0 here at St Andrews. The stipulations in the Conti Cup group stage remain the same. Blues not really having any sort of chance at qualifying. If things stay the way they are here and in the Brighton game, then Blues do go into that ranking system for teams in second position, but there are quite a few teams with a better average points tally per game than Blues even before kickoff, so Blues not really having a chance to progress to the latter stages, but still all to play for here. Good touch out of her feet and strike towards goals by Princess Adamiluyi. Slices wide in the end as the referee points for a goal kick. Brave defending nonetheless by Martha Harris. Cluster of bodies under that goal kick. It will break for Finn. Dungate outnumbered in the end as Harries robs her of possession momentarily, but runs out of room down that near side. The right, in front of where the Blues faithful are gathered in the lower cop. Of course, only recently opened and recently refurbished lower cop stand. Quinn flicks on, but picked up by West Ham United, and now Sissoko. Plenty of green grass for her to advance into. There's Smith. Sissoko thinks about going long. Instead, square it goes for Tiziak. Shimizu looking to break between the lines, and this is a big chance, but Hayashi just losing her footing at the vital moment. Asei going over in the penalty area, and the chance breaks down for West Ham, and now Blues can launch a counter-attack. Lucy Quinn is bursting forward beyond Devlin, who was caught from behind nonetheless. As Darren Carter, just as those alarm bells begin to ring at the back for Blues, the ponytail manager doesn't want any sort of complacency at the back from his side. As we see Ellie Mason just signal to the bench that Charlie Devlin might need to make way here for the final 10 minutes. The physio is on to assess the Blues winger. Certainly a heavy challenge from behind. Of course, Blues, after a bit of a lengthy break from league action, resume Women's Championship campaign against London City Lionesses as they have a game in hand on the front runners above them in the table. They did lead things at Christmas, but what with their commitments elsewhere, Sunderland and Charlton could retake top spot above them. Darren Carter's side, who narrowly missed out on promotion, straight back to the Super League. First time of asking, pips the post by Bristol City. Looking at the second time of asking to return to the top tier of women's football. Devlin making her way off, accompanied with the physio, but seems okay to continue. At least that's what she's signalling to Darren Carter. Certainly been a real dynamo and live wire down that left flank and right flank for Blues this evening. As Devlin, as Yuri is picked out by Ellie Mason. It's a loose touch from the South Korean though. There's Shimizu, Arnold, Sissoko, closed down by Yuri, but West Ham escaped that tight cul-de-sac. And looking from the restart to just stretch Blues slightly, who are a player down, of course, with Devlin still on the sidelines. Here she comes now. Hayashi bursts away from two Blues bodies. This is Ueki, who certainly had two brilliant opportunities for West Ham United in the second half. Their two best of the game. Her most recent drive is well marshalled by the Blues backline. And Darren Carter, just with his palms out, upturned. I'm sure gesturing towards the referee, Amy Fernie, thought there was a foul in there on Lucy Quinn, but play will continue with West Ham on the front foot, searching for a foothold that continues to elude them. They've got 7 minutes plus whatever the referee wants to add on to find a goal, and once again Riko Yuki is denied by Lucy Thomas. The Blues shot stopper simply looks unbeatable tonight. 3 chances now for Riko Ueki, the Japanese international, twice denied by Thomas, and one fired over the tilt and into the stands below. Another has to go down as another brilliant chance for West Ham United. The Japanese international Riko Ueki could have had 3 and could have single-handedly turned this game on its head. Chance for West Ham to cause some problems in the penalty area from a set-piece situation. The Said delivers into a packed penalty area. It was a Blues head, but there was a final contact, so West Ham will have a corner kick. 5 minutes to go. A goal now, you feel, for the Hammers will set up a real grandstand finish at St Andrews. Blues hoping to stand firm and keep their clean sheet intact. Short, the Hammers go from this corner kick. Return ball to Smith was awkward to control, but control it she does. Lost it into that corridor of uncertainty. Vital header away by Blues. In a crowd of bodies in the 18-yard box, smartly back in. And the header through is by Tisiak, nobody home in a claret and white shirt. Shimizu. Tisiak. Hayashi. Sissoko. Hayashi. Shimizu. Space to burst into over the halfway line. Looks to angle it towards Uisak. Ueki. Through the legs of Jenner, but back there is Heron, who's been a standout performer at the back for Blues this evening. Clipped into a dangerous area by Harries, but nobody home in a West Ham shirt, and it falls harmlessly for Lucy Thomas. Blues just working to retain the ball. Not anything silly or complacent at this stage in the game. Harris has been momentarily dispossessed and momentarily wins the ball back, but once again, West Ham come forward. Ueki and Quinn can smuggle it into the path of Dungate, who eludes the challenge of the incoming Tisiak, and surrounded by West Ham bodies. And it's the Hammers who emerge with it down the right-hand side. And Emilui. Quinn retreating back and just caught in their attempted challenge. And Blues had the free kick. And West Ham look dejected and crestfallen. Heads dropping for the Hammers. Heron wins the throw in for Blues. West Ham just feel like nothing is going their way tonight. We've seldom seen the Hammers really get out of first gear throughout the 90 minutes. And they've been punished in turn. Liliag heading home on 18 minutes. And then Blues making the perfect start to the second period. A simply sublime effort by Martha Harris for her third goal in blue, and Blues second on the night. And it looks to be the goal, pending 6 minutes of added time, that has sealed the victory for Blues in the tie. West Ham corner. Five minutes of stoppage time to go. Smith's right-footed delivery is towards the back stick and headed in. And West Ham have a lifeline. 5 minutes of stoppage time to go. And the Hammers, out of nowhere, have a foothold in the contest. And maybe there is light at the end of the Conti Cup tunnel for the Hammers. Well, they've had a number of set pieces in this second half. And Rico Ueki, after being denied time after time by Lucy Thomas and having the best opportunities of the game in claret and white, finally breaches the Blues net. Her fourth goal this season for West Ham. It could be a crucial one for them, and it's one that gets them right back in proceedings and sets up a grandstand finish here at St Andrews. Blues 2, West Ham United 1. And after looking relatively comfortable for the entirety of the second half since Martha Harris's splendid finish just after the break, suddenly Blues have to hang on. Jenna has given it away. Adamaluyi will take it on from distance, charged down by Harris, but West Ham have the wind in their sails and the bit between their teeth, and it's a teasing ball in, and it will come back out to Sissoko. Christy Harrison's Murray intervention. Looks to shield the ball, but has lost possession on the periphery of her own penalty area. And with Charlton grabbing a goal back against Brighton and West Ham grabbing a goal back against Blues, suddenly Blues have gone from second to bottom of their Conti Cup group. Blues living dangerously. Well, West Ham want a free kick down the right-hand side. They won't get one as the precious seconds tick away for Blues. Yashi rising. It will fall for Christy Harrison-Murray, who will just aim towards the corners. 2 minutes of the 6 added on to go. I'm sure we'll have a tiny bit added on for that slight delay before kickoff as well. West Ham coming forward again. Amber Tisiak. Now down the right-hand side, charging. Jess Zhu wins a corner. Minute and a half to go. And Mackenzie Arnold is coming up. The West Ham goalkeeper is in there. Hail Mary time for the Hammers. Smith. Right-footed corner kick into a packed penalty. Arnold is up and connected with it, the West Ham goalkeeper, but got under it and it sails over into the Tilton. And maybe with it, West Ham's last chance of levelling up proceedings. Brighton-Charlton has finished. Brighton have beaten Charlton by 2-1, so that means Charlton occupy currently the second position in Group E and will go into the second place ranking league. I don't think it will be enough for them to get anywhere further in the Conti Cup. But a goal for West Ham maybe could change all of that. They're pushing hard, the Hammers. 10 seconds of the 6 added on to go. Shimizu. It's now or never for the Hammers as Ueki wriggles away. Smothered clear by Martha Harris. Blues hanging on. Zhu charging towards the byline, brought down by Harris. This is it. This is the ball game. Free kick, West Ham. Again, Mackenzie Arnold's up from the back. She connected with the corner kick. What can she do from this set piece? From a free kick. It's a packed penalty area around. Yeah, it's a packed penalty area. Kirsty Smith, do or die for the Hammers. Their Conti Cup status at stake. Smith's delivery. It's a hammerhead that gets to it, and the free kick goes Blues' way. And that will be that. West Ham have pushed and pushed and pushed. But for the Hammers, I'm afraid it's too little, too late. Blues have won it, but their Conti Cup journey comes to an end for another year. Their rich vein of form, however, goes on against Women's Super League opposition. Liliad got Blues up and running in the first half as they punished the Hammers' slow start. She headed home after a good work by Ellie Mason down the left-hand side for her third goal of the season. And the Hammers hardly got out of first gear and were punished further at the start of the second half. A simply sublime strike by Martha Harris on the half volley under her third goal in blue, and Blue's second on the night. West Ham then did start to come out of their shell and really ask some questions and create chances in the second period. Riko Ueki had the best of those, twice denied by a brilliant Lucy Thomas, but eventually breached the Blues back line to set up a nervous finish. But Blues saw out the remaining stoppage time to see victory out against the Women's Super League side. Blues out of the Conti Cup, but green on the form guide. We return to Women's Championship action back here against London City Lionesses on Sunday in our quest to return to the Women's Super League. But here, Blues are beating opposition from the top tier. It's finished Blues 2, West Ham United 1 in the final group game of the Conti Cup. We'll see you back here on Sunday. Keep right on, Blue Noses.